Jimena has a story you hear too often in Mexico. It starts with a young girl in love, then a baby.
Yo no quería tener todavía un hijo porque todavía tenía 18 años. Él decía que ya quería ser papá y todo, y pues, bueno, vamos a intentarlo, le dije. Y pues llegó el tiempo de que quedé embarazada. Estaba muy feliz, yo lo veía muy feliz conmigo y con el niño.
One night when Jimena was 7 months pregnant, she says her boyfriend burst into the house. He'd insulted a policeman after too many drinks, and now he was in for it. Jimena told him to go to bed.
Voy a romperle su madre a los policías, y yo le digo, no, porque solo te van a estar encerrando, y sabes que cuando te encierran te golpean. No, pero es que a mí me vale madres, les va a romper su madre. Ah, bueno, haz lo que quieras. Y cuando vi que estaba saliendo, yo lo que hice fui y traté de cerrar la puerta. Y con mi panza lo agarré con todas mis fuerzas y lo jalé hacia adentro. Le dije, tú no vas a ningún lado, le digo. Y desde ahí es cuando me empezó los dolores, y al día siguiente fui al doctor y me dijeron que ya no puedo regresar a mi casa, que porque el niño ya mero nace. Demasiada violencia. Llegó al extremo que estaba ya acostada gustando y viene y me empieza a pegar. Le dijeron chismes, que me vieron con otro, que no sé qué, y, o sea, cosa que no era verdad. Y él más creía en los chismes y no en mí, que es lo que más me dolía. Agarré a mi bebé y en una bolsa puse lo que es más importante, su leche, sus biberones, toallitas, pañales de mi bebé y un poquito de ropa, y me fui en casa de mis papás.
The broad strokes of Jimena's story are common, but standing up to her partner was less so. Activists say Mexican women struggle to leave abusive relationships, and if they do leave, to make ends meet on their own. Jimena found a job at this dive shop in Akumal, leading snorkeling tours. After work, she picks Miguel up from school and takes him home, where it turns out he isn't the only little kid awaiting grandma's fresh tortillas. His 2 aunts and his little cousins live here too.
Yo creo que nos pasó a las 3, porque las 3 estamos solteras, que no íbamos a aguantar a los hombres que nos trataban mal. Por eso. La niña más grande que se fue a comprar y la más pequeña que está aquí, los abandonaron por su papá, o sea que su mamá es madre soltera igual. Y también el niño, su mamá, su papá se fue a Monterrey y lo dejó. Incluso mi hermana también es madre soltera. Cuando se separó de Jessica, su mamá de las niñas, se dedicó mucho a tomar y casi ni siquiera viene a ver a las niñas. Y su papá del niño, pues definitivamente se fue y lo dejó.
You could call Jimena's parents' house a refugee center for abused women. Miguel's grandmother watches the kids while the moms work. A lot of women don't have a support network, or even jobs, because maybe they never finished school. The cycle of poverty, dependence, and abuse is tough to break. This organic food market 300 miles away in Mérida, Mexico, is an unlikely place to try. But for American expat Georgianne Huck, it's perfect. Huck has lived in Mexico for more than 40 years. She's a retired university professor, a feminist, a crusader for women's rights. For her, equality for women starts with financial autonomy. On this day, it takes the form of a recyclable shopping bag.
And it's your idea maybe to have women make these things?
Well, I would hope that women are generally the women who are sewing. When you go out in the countryside, one of the things you're going to see are sewing machines. Sewing machines and women who have always made embroidery work. So I see it as a very logical step for them to make this and not to be mass-made in factories. I talked to a woman down my street, for example, the seamstress the other day, and she could make us a cloth plastic bag for 60 pesos. I think that that would be a really good thing to have. And first you have to sneak up on the plastic industry, I think, because in Mexico City they've gotten rid of it by the law. But do you know that saying, se acata pero no se cumple? Okay, ever since the colonial times. The law is made, but it's never complied with.
creating a few jobs for women to earn their own keep. It's a drop in the bucket, but Huck says all change begins small, and hopefully early. This is a state-run orphanage just outside of town. Nearly 300 kids live here. Most were abandoned by single moms who, unlike Jimena and her sisters, couldn't find a way to support their kids. Huck volunteers here, teaching English.
Good. I do not like, muy bien. I do not like liver. Can you ask her what color her blouse is?
What color is your blouse?
My shirt is green. Muy bien, is green. Otra cosa es que vamos a operar el gato de Rudy. Es un gato macho que no puede estar dando cría por todo el mundo. Es una lección y hay que darle agua al gato.
Spading cats is a seemingly random topic, but Huck is trying to make a point about sex and its consequences.
Women didn't know about sex education for so long in this country and still don't at a certain level. So that they obviously have children out of wedlock and children that they didn't want to have. And again, abortion is against the law in the Yucatan. So there's no chance of that, even if you're going to have a child that you don't want. So there are many, many factors here, I think, that can be examined, and we can pull back to equality, women's education, women understanding that they have the same rights in the world. And they're going to meet these same things when they get out and want to be a strong woman, and they decide that they may want to have sex without being married. Then who's going to counsel them about what can be done about that so that they don't have children? And who's going to tell them that they're going to be a sinner if they do certain things? You know, all of these issues, I think, are out there and that we have to deal with them. I think you work on the person-to-person level, you educate at the base, and you keep educating the base and keep seeing what kind of leaders you make. You know, I could go into that class and look at some leaders. I could see those who have the possibility of leaders.
Huck herself came of age as an activist in Mexico. She's organized protests against violence and impunity since the 1970s, sometimes witnessing violent clashes in the process. As a foreigner, you can't participate directly in such events, or even carry signs. Huck's solution? She'd write her protest messages directly on her clothes. Looking back, Huck says Mexico's ongoing human rights movement is slowly bringing change. The Mexican government, long accused of turning a blind eye to domestic violence and the plight of women, is now making at least some effort to help, with a new chain of women's shelters, but they're not without their critics.
This is the Casa de Justicia, and what is it?
This is the place where the women who have problems with violence can come and directly, supposedly, receive help and maybe even are able to stay.
This is sort of off the beaten track.
Yes, it's way off the beaten track. So that you'd have to have a lot of money to get here in the first place, and you may not have that available.
Nestled between the genetic lab and the forensic services, behind the
main building.
Prosecutor's office.
Prosecutors, for the prosecuting attorneys.
Off the main highway that rings the city, sort of in the middle of nowhere.
In the middle of nowhere.
Would you say that this, in general, these centros de justicia are a step forward for Mexico?
I think the idea is good. It's the execution of it, whether it really happens or not, whether the political parties can go beyond political parties and work for the good of women, and that women can finally look at this as a place where they can come and find help, instead of come and be a part of something that a political system wants to show.
And would you say the fact that it appears empty signifies that women aren't being subjected to violence as right now?
No, I would say that it means it's far away from downtown. Nobody can get here. Nobody knows about it.
The Mexican government estimates that 80% of Mexican women have suffered abuse of some form, and the murder rate is alarming. In the state of Mexico alone, for example, authorities say some 1,000 women have been killed over the last 6 years. Among them, Mariana Lima, who was found beaten in her home. Her mother, Irenea Buendia, suspects her daughter's abusive husband.
Y el cuerpo estaba golpeado. Se veía muy golpeado. Estaba bañado.
In recent years, Mexico has passed laws criminalizing violence against spouses, but they are still rarely applied. and activists say this is only part of the problem. Maria de la Luz Estrada is with the NGO Catholics for the Right to Decide.
Que encontrábamos mujeres asesinadas donde no sabíamos quién las había matado. Solo el 30% se sabía que las mujeres habían sido asesinadas por su pareja, por algún familiar o algún vecino.
Whatever the circumstances, activists say a combination of official indifference, the reluctance of women to press charges, and a backlogged judicial system hamper progress. Which is why Jimena decided she'd rather just be single, despite her son's father's pledges to change.
Ya después me empezó a buscar y incluso me rogaba, lloraba, que decía que vamos a darnos una oportunidad, que va a dejar de tomar. No, es que no lo hagas por ti, hazlo por el niño. Si por el niño lo estoy haciendo, le digo, no por mí. Por el niño me volví un poquito más fuerte para no demostrarle que su mamá puede caer y no va a poder levantarse. Pues yo llegué a tener el valor y el orgullo de mujer, no dejar que te pisotee por un hombre y demostrarle a él que lo que no le daba a él, yo lo puedo conseguir por mis propios medios.